In this video, I'll show you two versions of Scenario Manager in Excel: the built-in what-if analysis tool and a customized, more powerful version. With Scenario Managers, accountants, managers, and small business owners can do a what-if analysis of budgets in an efficient way. Whether it is a cash flow budget, capital budget, or just an operating budget like in the example here. By the end of this video, you'll be able to use them right away. I am using this sample operating budget to illustrate. It's broken down by month. As you may know, when you have a budget report on a month-by-month basis, each month is evaluated on its own. That is, independent of the preceding or the following month. So, for this illustration, we're focusing on January's budget. We only have 2 months here, January and February. But typically budgets are prepared either for all the 12 months or just one column for the entire year. Before we move on to the scenario tools, let's take a quick look at the format of a typical operating budget. You have all the revenue or income items here at the top portion and all the expense items here at the lower section. The total amount for each section is simply the sum of the corresponding items above. There is also a total column here, and that is the sum for each item for all the months covered. At the very bottom, you have operating profit. That is just the difference between the total revenue and the total expense, both for individual months and for the total column. All right, let's now see the first method of managing budget scenarios, which is the built-in Scenario Manager. Let's set it up first, and then you will see what it does. To set it up, open Scenario Manager by going to the Data tab. Then, under the Forecast group, find What If Analysis, and click on it. Select Scenario Manager to open the Scenario Manager dialog box. Here is the dialog box. Now, let's create the first scenario. Click Add. Give it any name. I am naming it Scenario 1. And for the Changing Cells field here, select a range of cells on your table. In our example operating budget, it is the area where the revenue and expense amounts are located. To easily populate the Changing Cells field here, first click inside the field. Then, go ahead and select the range of cells, like so. Now, if you look the Changing Cells here, it is updated according to the selected area. Click OK to complete the creation of your first scenario. On the next dialog box, you can start changing values to modify Scenario 1. But let's skip that for now to avoid any confusion. So, hit OK. Now create a second scenario, for example, Scenario 2, in the exact same way. And click OK. Let's modify Scenario 2, just to make it different from Scenario 1. Let's say, for example, in Scenario 2, salary expense in January will go up to $850,000, maybe due to a plan to hire new employees. And rent expense will also increase to $75K, maybe due to a probable relocation to a busier downtown area, or any other reason. And because of those changes, let's also say there will be a boost in sales to $3.5 million. You can change as many or as few variables as you want. Once done changing, click OK. Now, selecting a scenario and hitting Show here updates the budget, showing its impact on the bottom line, operating profit in this case. Switching to Scenario 1 shows how different scenarios of income and expense amounts affect operating profit. You can create multiple scenarios and compare results right on the same budget report, with no need to create a second or third version, which avoids redundancy, confusion, risk of error, and inconsistencies. Great. However, this built-in scenario analysis tool has limitations. You cannot see which scenario is actively displayed without opening the dialog box. And also, editing values in the dialog box of the Scenario Manager is not intuitive, as the fields are by default labeled with the cell coordinates, not meaningful names like salary or rent, for example. That requires you to look back and forth between the dialog box and your table, or your budget in this example. Besides, there is a limit on the number of cells you can designate as the Changing Cells field. The good news is that you can easily create a more intuitive, efficient, and more powerful scenario tool. First, let's see how it works. Here, scenarios are selected from a drop-down right in the spreadsheet, updating the budget instantly. To modify a scenario, select it, then change values right on your data, and click Save. Being able to modify scenarios right on the actual data in real time is much more intuitive and time-saving. Whereas, with the default method we saw earlier, you have to deal with cell coordinates that don't mean anything until you cross-check with your actual table. Here, to view or edit another scenario, select it from the drop-down. And boom, it is displayed for you. You can also see a side-by-side view of two scenarios. Just select the two scenarios to compare. Here, I am selecting Scenario 1 as the first scenario, and Scenario 2 to compare it with. Then, click Compare. And just like that, here you have the two scenarios you chose to compare. To compare another pair of scenarios, go to your main sheet and select a different set of scenarios. Then compare. Not only you can see both scenarios side by side at the same time. If you want, you can also easily create a comparison column to compare each individual budget item between the two scenarios. How convenient and intuitive is that? Okay, before getting to how you can set that up, I have a little reminder. If you like this video and find it somehow useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you've any question, drop it below, and I will get to it as soon as I can. If you would rather send your question to a secure and private message, you can use my Microsoft email, being displayed on the screen. Awesome. Back to where we were. That is, setting up this powerful scenario analysis tool. Easy. I am starting from scratch with my operating budget. Create a drop-down list in any cell on your spreadsheet. To do that, select any cell to add a drop-down of scenario names. I am choosing F2 here. Give it a bold border so that you don't forget where it is. Then, go to Data tab. Find Data Validation in the ribbon and click on it. That opens this Data Validation dialog box. In the Allow drop-down, select List. In the Source field, type your scenario names separated by commas. Here, I am calling them Scenario 1, Scenario 2, Scenario 3. You can also add more scenario names later. Hit OK. Then, save your workbook as a macro-enabled workbook. To do that, go to File and select Save a Copy. If your Excel file has not been saved before, you will see a Save As option instead. In that case, select Save As. Then, click on the folder name shown by default here. Select a folder to save your Excel file in. Give it a file name. I'm naming it Budget Analysis. For the file type here, select Excel Macro Enabled Workbook and click Save. If you are a Mac user, the saving actions can be a little different. Just save your Excel as you normally would. But make sure to select Macro Enabled Workbook for the file type. Next, all you have to do is copy and paste some Visual Basic codes I am about to show you. You don't need to know any Visual Basic at all. In the description box below, you will see two links, Sheet and Module. Click on the Sheet link first. That will take you to GitHub, the largest code collaboration hub. Copy the code you see by simply clicking on the copy icon here. And come back to your Excel. On your keyboard, press Alt F11. That will open the VBA editor. Mac users may need to press a different combination of keys to open the VBA editor. Now, go to your main Excel sheet and notice the name of your sheet. In my case, that is Sheet 1. Switch to your VBA editor and find that name in the left pane. And double-click on it to open the VBA editor for that sheet. Here is the editor for Sheet 1. You know it is the editor for Sheet 1 if you see Sheet 1 at the very top of the editor. Paste the code you copied from GitHub using the Sheet link. Then click on the Save button located in the ribbon of the editor here. That completes the part for the sheet. For the module code, first right-click anywhere in the left pane. Point to Insert. Then click on Module. You will see a new module added. If this is the first time you created a module, it will be named Module 1. Double-click on it. On the editor that opens, paste the code you copied from GitHub using the module link. Then, on your keyboard, press Ctrl-H. That will open the Replace dialog box you see here. For Mac users, you might have to press a different key combination, most likely Command-Shift-H. On the first field of the Replace dialog box, type Sheet X exactly as you see it here. Then on the second field, type whatever the name of the sheet your table's located. In my case, for example, the sheet my operating budget is found is sheet 1, as you can see. So, switching back to the editor, I type sheet 1 in here and click on Replace All. And if prompted with a notification pop up like this, click OK. Then, if you close the Replace dialog box, press Ctrl H again to open it back. And this time, type Area X in the first field. And in the second field, type whatever range of cell your table covers on your spreadsheet. For example, if you see my operating budget, it spans from A1 all the way to D16. So, going back to the editor, in the second field here, I type A1 colon D16 and hit Replace All. Finally, press Ctrl H one more time if the Replace dialog box is closed. In the first field, type Cell X. And in the second field, type whatever cell in your spreadsheet your dropdown's located. In my case, for example, the cell where the dropdown of scenario names is located is F2. So, go back to the editor and type that cell in the second field here, which is F2 in my case, and hit Replace All. Click OK, and close the Replace dialog box. Don't forget to save here at the top. You can now close your editor. On your Excel sheet where your table is located, add a shape that'll be used as a button. To do that, go to the Insert tab in the ribbon and find the Shapes command. Then select a shape. You can select any shape, but the one that has a conventional look of a button is the rectangle with round corners. Select it. Then, drag your mouse anywhere to draw the shape. Right-click on it and select Assign Macro. Then from the box that opens, select Save Scenario. Finally, hit OK to complete the core tasks of button creation. You can resize, move the button around, and add a label to it. The shape is now behaving as a button for any left click. So to resize it, right-click on it. Click anywhere outside the context menu to hide the menu. Then click and hold on one of the corners of the shape and drag around to resize. To move the button around, or to move it where you want it, right-click on it. Click anywhere outside the context menu to hide the menu. Then, click and hold the shape and drag it around. To add a label to the shape, right-click on it. Select Edit Text from the context menu. You can now type right inside the shape to give it any label. I am labeling it Save. You can also style the label by changing its alignment, size, and weight. Fantastic! You now have an improved, fully functioning, and intuitive scenario manager. I will show you how you can set up the side-by-side comparison tool on my next video. If that video has already been published by the time you're watching this video, there will be a link to that video in the description below. Well, that is it for now. Let your budgets excel. Thanks for watching.